Evil grows in the dark, where the sun it never shines.
And who said TV was dead?
Now, this is an interesting turn of events, talking about TV villains. The advantage of being a villain on a show is basically you have an entire series to show your evil and not in a 2-hour movie. This downside of a show can definitely have more than one villain and are more story driven than a feature film. So with that side, a few ground rules. Only one villain per show, or else it would be a top 15 or 100. I'm excluding anime, seeing how that could be a list of its own. I am putting live action and Disney shows, seeing how they have interesting villains in their own right. So with all that said,
let's start the show.
Once you wear black, you'll never go back. It's a high to be loathed.
Perfection.
Steven Universe has a running moral about how perfection can have a negative impact on people, and how if we try to be, we miss out on little things that make us happy. With, of course, saying,
if every pork chop were perfect,
we wouldn't have hot dogs.
Yeah, even the show knows how that line goes.
Over time, the show talks about how the Diamonds want their empire to be perfect, without any flaws or the likes. She only makes an appearance a few episodes of Steven Universe, but even then she sees Steven's cause of actions and friends inferior and likes to surround herself with inferior gems so she can be the best of the worst.
Yeah, a show for kids got a villain to say that about uniqueness.
White Diamond's power and personalities may be symbolical of mental abuse or manipulative behavior. Abusers of this kind make their victims question their mindset, using deceit and manipulative words or actions to make sad victims believe that they are in the wrong, or generally making them too confused about their attackers. Behavior and outward performance to try to leave in fear of hurting them or being innocent, or being unable to recognize the fact that they are being abused. This is reflected in a lot of White Diamond's dialogue in Change Your Mind, as well as her ability to control the actions of others through mind control. The only reason she's low on this list is she only appears later in the series, and most of the time is mainly told in backstory of why she's like this. Still, give props to a villain that wants to make everything better.
All the impurities you've encouraged in them are gone.
Once you wear black, you'll never go back. It's a high to be loathed.
but you may call me the Shredder.
Yeah, I didn't know how to start a quote with that segment.
What was originally a satire of Daredevil and Frank Miller style comics, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have had various incarnations over the years. From animation to live action to dark and to corny, the Turtles also have a rogues gallery they fight within the realms of New York City. But the fans all agree that the Shredder is the most memorable baddie of them all. Originally Oroku Saki, he is the leader of the Foot Clan and is the main antagonist of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He has many origin stories from a vengeful brother in the comics to the leader of the Foot Clan to even being an alien, a demonic entity, and artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and you guys were mad about the Turtles being aliens.
The Shredder was presented as extremely cunning and was described by Splinter himself as the most dangerous adversary he ever faced. Shredder's intelligence preserved throughout his various portrayals, and in several instances, it is claimed that Shredder has an IQ of 300. Despite Shredder's failings, he is still shown to have considerable skills. In martial arts, he is often shown to surpass the Turtles, and equaled only by Splinter. His technical skills are also quite impressive. He designed and built a robotic body for Krang, prepared the mutation mixture, knew how Krang's teleportation engine worked, and built numerous other advanced devices. In other versions, he adopted or recruited young residents into the Foot Clan, including his adopted daughter, Karai, and taught them the ways of the ninja. He also is portrayed by many actors, including the late Uncle Phil, James Avery.
You bring him back, or they'll never find your bodies.
No matter what variation of the Turtles there are, like any arch nemesis, the Shredder will always be there to fight.
Prepare to face your destiny.
Once you wear black, you'll never go back. It's a high to be loathed.
Well, time to grab my brony joke jar. I'd be surprised if you thought I didn't have one of these.
So yeah, whether you like the show or not, a lot of people agree that the villains of My Little Pony were definitely the most interesting part of the 80s show. Even the original movie had the Smoosh and 3 redneck witches.
Okay, I didn't see the original movie. Cut me some slack.
So it would be no surprise that Generation 4 would have good villains and go up against our pony pals. And while I agree that Chrysalis has a good villain song, there is one villain I like more.
I am Lord Derek.
T-Rex and his brother Scorpion came to Equestria from a distant land to steal equestrian magic. However, Scorpion grew to appreciate the ways of Equestria and even befriended a young unicorn wizard. Scorpion pleaded with his brother to abandon their plan, but T-Rex refused to relent to save Equestria. Scorpion informed the princesses of T-Rex's intentions. Scorpion returned to his homeland while T-Rex was imprisoned in Tartarus for his crimes. Lord T-Rex is potentially one of the most powerful magic users in the show. However, his magic was severely diminished due to his imprisonment in Tartarus. He frequently shoots beams from an orange orb floating between his horns, and he absorbs magic and changes both physically and magically, gaining brighter colors and more muscular physique, larger horns, and a deeper voice. As he progresses, he drains magic from dozens of ponies at once.
Different than his counterpart in Generation 1 where he just turns ponies into dragons. Oh god, now I don't know which one's worse.
Lord T-Rex is evil, domineering, narcissistic, and driven by an obsessive desire for power, believing that all the magic of Equestria should be his. He has a violent temper and fierce nature, which he directs towards Twilight Sparkle and the other princesses. He is also very manipulative and highly persuasive when striking a deal, especially when convincing Discord.
Far greater than friendship. Freedom.
However, while T-Rex may hold up his end of the bargain in some cases, he is generally dishonest and traitorous, not hesitating to turn on and dispose of anyone whose usefulness has expired, such as Discord.
It is as worthless as he is.
As good as he is low on this list mostly due to his backstory being in comic book form.
But let's be honest, the battle between him and Twilight in the season 4 finale was an epic climax.
Oh my god, he's so goddamn cool!
Once you wear black, you'll never go back. It's a high to be loathed.
Why do I get the feeling the comment section is going to pile up after this segment?
Whether you like Butch Hartman or not, he did have some interesting shows. Danny Phantom was definitely one of my favorites growing up. With an exciting premise of a high school kid getting ghost-like powers and becoming a superhero fighting evil ghosts. It also has a compelling villain in the show, Vlad Masters / Plasmius. Vlad Masters, alias Vlad Plasmius, is a billionaire industrialist, the original founder of CEO of Vladco, and an old college friend of both Jack and Manny Fenton. Vlad is secretly a human-ghost hybrid, the first to come into existence, following an accidental college experiment he worked on with Jack and Manny, in which Vlad gained his powers. Vlad went on to blame Jack for what happened to him, secretly hating him and desiring exact revenge. Vlad spent the next 20 years owning and taking advantage of his newfound powers in order to become rich and famous, all in the hopes of eventually getting Manny back. He possessed wealthy business tycoons to make them hand their companies over to him, took part in invisible insider stock market trading, and committed many invisible burglaries in order to amass his vast fortune, even become CEO of Vladco.
Which is ironically a division of Disney.
Most of his plans usually involve making Jack look foolish and turning his own family against him, even saying he'll train Danny to use his powers.
All you'd have to do is renounce your idiot father.
Weirdly enough, that makes more sense than the Green Goblin trying to turn Spider-Man on a rooftop. Yeah, I said it.
Later in the series, he has become mayor of Amity Park, and in the series finale, he tries to convince the world to have him rule it to save them from a comet, only to realize he can't stop the comet and for Jack to abandon him, making him a nomad out in space all by himself to reflect on his mistake. In the end, all his plans were eventually thwarted by self-arrogance.
Once you wear black, you'll never go back. It's a high to be loathed.
And I'm so tired of supervillains always copying what the superhero does.
The evil counterpart is a character who has a similar background, abilities, or even appearance to the hero, but has chosen a darker path. They represent what the hero could become if they succumb to their negative impulses, or if their circumstances have been slightly different. We've seen this in comics like Reverse Flash and Red Hulk, video games like Wario and Metal Sonic, and in Doctor Who's case, the Master. Much like the Doctor, the Master is a renegade Time Lord that fled Galfari, but unlike the Doctor, he is a power-hungry and a lust of chaos. Being the polar opposite of the Doctor in almost every respect, condescending, arrogant, vain, and lusting for power. Unlike the Doctor, who usually needed their companions to convince people that they knew what they were doing, the Master had no problem manipulating people into helping him with his evil plans, even getting people to side with by exaggerating certain truths about the Doctor to paint him in a bad light.
Human race, greatest monsters of them all.
Also, like the Doctor, he is played by many actors.
Whether the suave and charming psychopathic individual or the over-the-top inappropriate behavior, each one has given their own take of the character. And I know that the Daleks are the most famous Doctor Who villains, but to me, it's more dangerous if the hero wants to care about the villain more than hate the villain.
It's like, I don't want to fight you, I just don't have a choice.
Plus, the Master has more personality than the Daleks.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Once you wear black, you'll never go back. It's a high to be loathed.
Long ago, in a distant land, Aku, the shape-shifting master of darkness, unleashed an unspeakable evil. But a foolish samurai warrior wielding a magic sword stepped forth to oppose him. Before the final blow was struck, Aku tore open a portal in time and flung him into the future, where Aku's evil is law. Now the fool seeks to return to the past and undo the future that is Aku.
God, what a dork.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
Voiced by the late Mako, Aku is an evil shape-shifting demon who took over the world and ruled it for countless eons. Aku constantly antagonized Samurai Jack. He often attacked him when he was weak, and other times defended himself from Jack's own gambits. While he's usually presented as a serious and threatening foe, Aku has also a source of comedy on the show, due to his outrageous design and sometimes wise guy behavior, which was supported by Mako's over-the-top voice acting.
3 minutes, oh, it's free. Excellent! Ha!
Aku was outright unhinged, merciless, and inhumane, to say the least, but had enough of an understanding of humanity in order to manipulate the feelings of others. Aku often blackmailed others in performing his will, and then betrayed his promises to them once they fulfilled their services. Aku was as intelligent as he was powerful, and his cunning knew little end, from taking the form of a woman in order to trick Jack, or manipulate various races into serving him. Aku was also dishonest and had no shame or remorse, and routinely went back on his word, either to serve himself or simply for amusement. Despite that, Aku possessed a dry sense of humor, and often joked when he was in a good mood and mocked Jack whenever and however he could.
Right, Jack. How incredibly observant you are.
Also, I found out that Aku is evil in Japanese. I have no jokes for that. I just found that very clever.
Once you wear black, you'll never go back. It's a high to be loathed.
Superman, the Man of Steel, the symbol of truth and justice. But what would happen if he became evil? There were plenty of different versions where we saw that happen.
Some are better than others.
Brightburn showed how Superman would be as a horror movie villain. Injustice showed us how Superman would turn evil, creating a DC Civil War.
They really like to copy off each other.
I want to bring this up because recently 2 shows on Amazon Prime have shown examples of that also. One is Omni-Man from Invincible, who is basically a Saiyan-type character, but later on he does show signs of emotions that even he doesn't understand.
I think I miss my wife.
Then there's Homelander from The Boys. Need I say more?
Based on the comic of the same name, pretty much built in a laboratory by birth to basically be considered to be the greatest superhero alive, but due to a sociopathic tendencies, he is just as dangerous. He is a ruthless leader doing whatever it takes to keep a high public opinion of the Seven, including threatening both Starlight and the Deep. As a person, he is a deeply narcissistic, disturbed, violence addicted, and sadistic psychopath. For a superhero hero, Homelander is incredibly needlessly violent, brutal, and aggressive, throwing a bank robber into the air and letting him fall to his death, punching a shooter in the chest, essentially discriminating a group of terrorists around the world. This also highlights his high intelligence as he set up a miraculous plan to get superheroes into the military by forcing A-Train to spread Compound V around the world, and is also charismatic, easily swaying the public to give him support. Homelander struggled to feel genuine love, empathy, and understanding for other people and their emotions. This has rendered him callous, immoral, and psychopathic, often threatening, abusing, and intimidating the other members of the Seven in order to keep them in line, much like his father, while also killing anyone who stands in his way. It is made clear that Homelander does not actually care about humanity or in the way Supes, but mainly himself, are viewed in their eyes. He seems to be more than willing to let a plane fall of families and children crash despite pleas from Queen Maeve to save the children, but pretends to feel sadness about the incident while in the public eye. Season 3, Homelander's mental stability has significantly deteriorated even further, and he is now more deranged than ever. Due to his controversial relationship with Stormfront, he is desperate to be loved again by the public, putting on a relatable, humane persona and saying he fell in love with the wrong person. His mental state worsens when he finds out that Stormfront killed herself in a hospital shortly after Homelander visited her and dismissed her Nazi ideology, causing Homelander to believe that. Like Stillwell, Stormfront never truly loved him and merely used him as a pawn. He is also shown to be more intolerant and easily agitated by anyone or anything that threatens to damage his image and reputation, as seen through his growing dislike for Starlight, and when he nearly killed A-Train for simply talking back to him. Homelander displays a perverse and sadistic sense of humor, enjoying exerting his will, his physical torture, and emotional abuse onto others. He also appears to have a childish tendency to embarrass people that he dislikes, but either can't or won't kill, often putting them into humiliating or demeaning situations, while simultaneously putting on the front of being friendly or earnest.
It also says here he has been suffering from clear PTSD, dissociative identity disorder, is eventually more paranoid, frequently suffering traumatic flashbacks of the experience he has endured as a child. And most of that is from the dialogue.
This doesn't excuse his actions, but throughout the series you see his mental health deteriorating, and everything he's been through doesn't help either. Makes him sympathize with him in a way.
Maybe you're just a paranoid, malignant narcissist who thinks everything is about you.
Imagine saying that to someone today in real life.
Once you wear black, you'll never go back. It's a high to be loathed.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
What do I say about this guy that hasn't already been said? Since his on-screen appearance in the 1966 Batman, the Joker was Batman's deadliest arch-enemy, who was ruthless, eccentric, cunning, and extremely dangerous. He tried every despicable trick to take over Gotham City, make a profit, and ruin Batman's life, emotionally and physically. He has no pity for anyone he forced to take part in his nefarious schemes, either by blackmail or deception, and was especially unkind to his henchgirl and lover Harley Quinn, since as manipulating her to amuse himself. He also escaped death several times after his defeats with Batman.
Hello, Gotham. Joker's back in town.
Despite his evident insanity, the Joker has been shown to be quite intelligent.
Regardless of the state of his sincerely twisted mind, the Joker was a brilliant planner and never appeared to run out of schemes. Often the Joker's plans were connected to humor, although simultaneously were extremely perilous, which resulted in him being dreaded wherever his schemes took him. The Joker could lie effortlessly and was remarkably accomplished at making up heart-rending stories that were capable of deceiving most other individuals into believing that he was simply misinterpreted, or in Harley Quinn's case, essentially taking pity on him and making her determined to help him in any way possible. Their stories were well known to have no limit, varying from cruel and abusive father to a runaway mother.
Every time I got out of line, bam!
Like Batman, there's other versions of the Joker. My favorites from TV were Michael Richardson from The Batman, Cesar Romero from the 60s Batman, and of course Mark Hamill, who plays the Joker, and other versions, including the animated series.
Really enough, I found out that Tim Curry was supposed to voice him in the animated series. Imagine how that would have gone down.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can? You do? Well, you better let the poor guy out.
Once you wear black, you'll never go back. It's a high to be loathed.
Weird. I went from Batman to Teen Titans. This is starting to get a little silly now.
Based on the comic series of the same name, the series stars Batman's sidekick, Robin, creating a superhero team of teenage superheroes, fighting villains while dealing with the emotional drama of being a teenager. While the series has an entire gallery of villains, the one I feel fits this list is kind of an obvious choice.
And the message has been received.
Based on the comic version of Deathstroke the Terminator himself, Slade is a ruthless criminal mastermind bent on taking over Jump City and destroying the Teen Titans by whatever means necessary. He is also the arch enemy of the Teen Titans leader, Robin, and is by extension considered the greatest and most dangerous adversary of the Teen Titans themselves.
He was also voiced by Ron Perlman. I don't know how I feel about that.
Slade is an extremely calm, composed, and imperturbable individual, remaining an enigma to both enemies and allies alike throughout the series. As a result, not much is known of his true personality by anyone. Although the comparison has been made on multiple occasions by multiple people that he and Robin share similar traits, such as an intense hatred for losing and a fierce deduction, borderline obsession in accomplishing his goals. Unlike Robin, however, Slade is a cruel, ruthless, calculating, and violent man, and a master manipulator. He prefers operating from the shadows, but is quite capable of holding his own in any kind of battle, and is exceedingly dangerous. He is very hard to startle or faze, and his emotions are nearly impossible to read. He maintains a calm demeanor throughout most situations, and only loses his temper very rarely. Despite his animosity with Robin and status of the Teen Titans arch enemy, it is worth noting that Slade never truly treats Robin like an enemy, even making Robin his apprentice.
Again, kind of ironic seeing how Robin used to be a sidekick.
He would recruit others and treat them in both active and aggressive manners if necessary. It means when he had a new apprentice, he would treat them worse than the former.
Should I do a celebrity apprentice joke or not? It seems kind of a bad taste nowadays.
But his stubbornness and cruelty is what led to his downfall and death.
Hey, you tried to do a celebrity apprentice joke after hearing that.
But even after his death, he still messes with Robin's psyche, making him act all crazy in front of the others.
Now, I should also talk about the film adaptation of Teen Titans Go, seeing how Slade is in that movie.
Will Arnett does a good job making Slade a cutting, serious, manipulative, and diabolical criminal mastermind that must not be underestimated, while sarcastic to boot.
You guys are jokes. Total jokes.
He is also visibly annoyed by the Titans' rambunctious antics, seeing them as ridiculous obstacles. Plus, he hates it when anyone mistakes him as Deadpool.
That's fair.
Head they wanna sever, and your blood they wanna shed.
Mojo Jojo, Powerpuff Girls, a popular villain of Cartoon Network in general. Plankton from SpongeBob SquarePants wants the Krabby Patty secret formula to take over the world. Dr. Dracula from Kim Possible.
You think you're all that, but you're not.
Norm the Genie from Fairly Odd Parents. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town. Rest in peace, Stefan Carl Stephenson. Professor Clarendis from Jimmy Neutron. Tim Curry as a mad scientist that can't finish anything.
I never put in a bathroom. To be loved.
Looks like we might be due for a big old storm of chaos.
Dungeons & Dragons uses a 3x3 grid to represent a character's morale and personal attitudes through 9 alignment combinations. The axis represents lawful, chaotic, and good, evil alignments, with each alignment composing a range of personality types. Really enough, this chart also works in the media as well.
For this segment, I'm going to talk about the chaotic alignment for now.
Chaotic good characters usually intend to do the right thing, but their methods are generally disorganized and often out of sync with the rest of society. So a character like Korra from Legends of Korra fits this role pretty well. Chaotic neutral describes a character who is free from the constants of both law and morality, prioritizing their own desires and acting on impulse. So Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty. Chaotic evil characters are unpredictable, dangerous, and malevolent, driven by personal freedom and self-interest. So a clip would show you who would fit that bill.
Be warned, this clip has been known to cause nightmares. See?
Bill Cipher is a two-dimensional, interdimensional dream demon from the now-destroyed dimension. Euclidia formerly existed only in the mindscape. Bill briefly succumbed by gaining access to the real world and a physical form. He had been running amok in Gravity Falls, Oregon since being summoned by Fort Pines over 30 years ago. Known for his mysterious demeanor and sadistic humor, Bill is the main antagonist of the overall series. Bill is directly addressed and introduced in the series. He does not play a central role in the series until his first physical appearance in Dreamscapers, though he is pictured throughout the entire series, such as the rug in the Mystery Shack, the window in the Billings attic, and is pictured in the title sequence. His impact on those he's encountered has changed them for the better or for worse.
It's funny how dumb you are.
Bill is a cunning, blasphemous, excentric, sadistic, psychopathic, and physically irrelevant being who finds most things amusing, particularly if they cause distress or harm to others. Alex Hirsch has voiced this character to be outrageous and outlandish, as well as a quick talker and thinker. He is also shown to be somewhat obnoxious, as seen when he makes his presence known to Dipper, when the latter is trying to figure out a password within a limited amount of time. Occasionally, his voice tones to a lower pitch, usually when emphasizing a statement.
Oh, I know lots of things.
Lots of things. As a demonic deal maker, Bill is also shown to be highly manipulative, very charismatic and charming con man, being able to easily trick Four Pines into believing that he was just a humble muse, who simply wished to help benefit the human world by providing him with forbidden knowledge, when in reality, he was only ever using the researcher for his own purpose with the book. Smart 4, noting that the only person who could have possibly seen the ruse for what it was his much more street-smart brother, Stan Pines, who was himself an expert con man. Bill is not one who believes in rules. Instead, he follows his own selfish philosophy, which means doing whatever he wants without care for the consequences. He thinks of laws and physics as senseless and displays an irresistible urge to break those rules down by causing absolute chaos however he can. The lives he ruins hold no merit to him, and he finds amusement in tormenting and turning people's worlds upside down. He also sees reality as an illusion and values its destruction.
So he's a Matrix fanboy?
He seems to have little knowledge about the human body, significantly its physical limits. Despite this, Bill's own ego proved to be his most fatal flaw, and has led to underestimate the mortals he failed to recognize Stan's tricks, as he was too giddy to read his thoughts, driven by his possibility of learning how to bypass the bubble over Bradley Falls, and did not realize he was at the most fragile well in the mindscape.
The reason he's number one is that he has been known to appear outside of other properties than Gravity Falls.
Making brief appearances even in properties outside of Disney does show how popular he is.
Just don't make him angry. You won't like him when he's angry.
You can't even imagine what you just cost me!
When I'm mad? I'm Galactic Knight, and I would like to do a video game list, but there are so many companies with so many unique villains and franchises. I can't pick which one. I don't know, maybe I should narrow it down to one company. But which one?